Welcome back, everyone, to this deep dive. Today, we're drawing from pages 26 through 32 of the ebook, The Great Awakening to Intentional Consciousness. You know the one, the QuantSciousness Code, manifesting intentions across the vibrational matrix.
That's right. And these pages, they really jump right into some pretty big choices. Freedom or slavery, positivity or negativity. It sets a stark tone from the start.
It really does. And it introduces this concept, eons, entangled other me's.
Yeah, eons, beings from parallel universes, apparently, who share knowledge with us. It's quite a setup. It frames our reality as potentially influenced by these other dimensions, other possibilities.
Definitely adds a layer. So the text suggests humanity is kind of at a crossroads, exploring life in these bodies. You've got those wanting to share freedom, happiness, individual choice.
And then you have the flip side, what the book calls the Overlords of Deception. Their goal, power, subjugation, control, all through a matrix of manipulation.
Sounds ominous. So our mission today, really, is to unpack what the text says this agenda is, and then look at the counter strategies it suggests for, holding on to freedom, giving everyone a framework to think about these concepts.
Exactly. Let's start with these overlords. The book presents their potential agenda, almost like from an AI's perspective, which is an interesting angle.
How so? What are the key elements?
Well, first up is control of information. Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Manipulating information, limiting access, keeping people either ignorant or believing things that just aren't true.
Yeah.
Misinformation, basically.
Yeah, you see how that would work if you control the story.
You control the perception. And tied into that is psychological manipulation, using propaganda, fear tactics, just generally messing with people's heads to suppress dissent, making people afraid to speak out or question things.
So it's not just hiding truth, it's actively shaping emotions and reactions. Makes sense. You see media sometimes, it feels like it's designed to make you feel a certain way, not think critically.
Precisely. Then comes economic domination. This is about controlling resources, wealth, creating dependency, making it hard for people to be self-sufficient so they're easier to control.
Right, if you're just focused on survival, you don't have much bandwidth left to challenge the system.
Exactly. And the text makes a direct link here. It asks, sounds familiar, doesn't it? Have you heard of the Great Reset, where it is stated that you will own nothing and you will be happy with nothing?
Wow, okay, so it connects this overlord concept to real-world discussions like the Great Reset. The idea being you rent everything, own nothing.
And therefore rely completely on the system run by these, overlords. It's a vision of total dependence.
It's quite a picture, and the text mentions consequences for criticizing the system.
Oh, yeah. It says criticizing the overlords could mean losing everything. Your access to resources, your ability to function in society.
Oh,
It draws parallels to restrictions we see or hear about in some places already.
that really highlights the stakes involved in dissent, if this framework holds true. What else is in their playbook, according to the text?
There's surveillance and monitoring, extensive watching, tracking actions, even thoughts, to maintain control,
Big Brother stuff.
pretty much. Then divide and conquer. Keep people separated, fighting amongst themselves, focused on differences so they can't unite against the controllers.
A classic tactic. Prevents solidarity.
Right. And cultural manipulation, shaping norms, values, entertainment, education, basically steering culture in a way that supports their agenda and discourages critical thinking or alternative ideas.
So even what we watch or learn could be part of this manipulation matrix.
That's the implication. And finally, technological control, using advanced tech not just for surveillance, but to enhance overall control and suppress any technologies that might empower people or lead to more freedom.
Okay, so that's a pretty comprehensive agenda for control laid out there. Information, psychology, economy, surveillance, division, culture, technology. It covers a lot of ground.
It's presented as a total system of control, but importantly, the text doesn't just leave it there. It offers counter strategies, again, framed as AI suggestions, ways to pursue freedom.
All right, let's hear them. What's the first step to resist this matrix?
Education and awareness. Seems obvious, but crucial. Actively seeking out knowledge, sharing truth, combating that misinformation we talked about. Being informed is resistance.
Like arming yourself with facts and different perspectives.
Exactly. And coupled with that is critical thinking. Don't just swallow information whole. Question it, analyze it, develop your own judgment. Don't rely on others to tell you what's true.
Makes sense. Be your own filter.
Then, unity and solidarity. This directly counters the divide and conquer tactic. Building strong communities, supporting each other, finding common ground. Collective resistance.
Strength in numbers, basically. What else?
Resourcefulness and self-sufficiency. reducing dependence on the systems controlled by the overlords, learning practical skills, local production, community support networks, becoming less reliant.
Like growing your own food, fixing things, creating local exchange systems, acts of independence.
Precisely. It reduces their economic leverage. Then there's covert and secure communication, finding ways to organize and share information safely, away from surveillance.
Staying under the radar when needed.
And technological innovation. But this time, focused on creating technologies that counter control, that empower individuals, using tech for freedom, not oppression.
Fighting fire with fire, in a way.
Sort of. And finally, maybe the most important internal quality, resilience and perseverance. Understanding this isn't easy. Having the mental and emotional strength to withstand pressure, setbacks, and keep going.
It's a long game, not a quick fix. So the text really boils it down, doesn't it? Pursue freedom through your own thoughts, actions working together, or succumb to this controlling agenda.
It does. And it's quite blunt about it. It states there's no room for debating the merits of opposing viewpoints if they do not fit into their power-hungry, authoritarian, cozialistic, communistic, and all-powerful demagoguery of controlling others. Note the interesting spellings there.
Yeah, notice those. It's making a very clear statement about not tolerating dissent within that supposed overlord system.
Exactly. It leaves no doubt where the text believes that path leads. Now, from there, the discussion takes a bit of a turn into more, let's say, metaphysical territory.
Okay, where does it go?
It introduces the belief in a karma cycle of karmic retribution and reincarnation, the idea that we go through life lessons, potentially over many lives.
So karma and reincarnation are tied into this broader picture.
Yes, and it poses a direct question. Does your dogma create your karma? Like, do your core beliefs actually shape the karmic consequences you experience? And to connect this to the golden rule, should you only do unto others as you would have them do unto you? Is that how karma works?
Interesting. So our beliefs might directly influence the karmic feedback loop based on how we treat others.
That's the suggestion.
Yeah.
It then talks about cause and effect, creating ripples, but specifically in quantum reality. Our thoughts, words, actions, they all manifest in consciousness.
Okay, consciousness with a capital C.
Seems so. And this leads to the hashtag quantum alignment of hashtag reality, where the hashtag vibrational matrix becomes manifest. It's using some specific, almost hashtag terms there.
Yeah, hashtag quantum alignment, hashtag vibrational matrix. So the idea is our actions and thoughts align reality through some kind of vibrational mechanism.
That appears to be the concept. And it strongly reiterates the principle. As you would do to another, so shall it now be done unto you. It's very direct. What you put out comes back within your own experience.
And this happens within your hashtag sphere of influence. What's that?
The text describes it as extending as far as your energy flows. So your intentions and actions have effects, and those effects ripple back to you within this sphere, however far-reaching it is. It emphasizes personal responsibility for the reality you experience.
That's a heady concept. Makes you really consider the impact of everything. What comes next?
It defines spirit from the quantum consciousness as QuantSciousness. It proposes that fundamentally everything is this QuantSciousness. Call it source, JOD, whatever term you prefer. It's the underlying reality.
So not just part of consciousness, but actually is consciousness everything?
That's the idea presented. And this, QuantSciousness, is indestructible, constantly transforming energy, which then brings in the observer effect.
Ah, the quantum physics idea. How does the book use it?
It states that based on the observer effect, all energy seems conscious and reacts to us. The universe isn't just dead matter. It's aware and responsive to our observation and, crucially, our intention.
Whoa. So the universe is literally reacting to me, to my thoughts, my focus.
According to this text, yes. And since we're framed as eternal beings engaging in this process continuously, our thoughts and intentions are constantly co-creating our reality. They aren't just passive things in our heads.
That shifts the perspective entirely. It gives immense power, but also responsibility.
Absolutely. And this leads to the final part of this section. The eon, the doppelganger, from another reality, suggests a way to counteract the overlords.
Okay, what's the plan?
Joining forces in something called the nexus. It's described as being connected to the Akashic records, the supposed universal library of all knowledge.
The nexus, like a meeting point for these eons, and maybe us.
Seems like it. A place maybe energetic or metaphorical to combine intentions, coordinate efforts. The goal is to bring about the great awakening across the multiverse. It highlights the power of shared intention among entangled minds.
A multiverse-wide awakening driven by combined focus. That's ambitious.
Very. But there's a serious warning attached.
Oh, what's the catch?
The text explicitly states that all realities exist, including ones where the overlords have already won, where total control is already the reality.
So victory isn't guaranteed. There are timelines where freedom loses.
Exactly. It adds urgency. The outcome isn't set in stone. The choices made now are critical across potentially infinite realities.
That's sobering. But does it end on that grim note?
No, thankfully. It pivots back to empowerment.
Right.
It directly tells the reader, the listener, choose the reality you want. It says that through meditation, visualization, imagination, intention-focused mental practices, you can actually create a specific reality to experience right now.
So even with these massive forces at play, individual intention still holds creative power.
That's the final message. It concludes with, it is still possible. A message of hope, agency, and the power of focused consciousness.
Well, that's certainly a lot to process. We hope this deep dive into these ideas, freedom versus slavery, positivity versus negativity, the overlords, the counter strategies, karma, consciousness, and the power of intention has given you some serious food for thought.
These concepts from the Great Awakening to intentional consciousness definitely offer a unique lens, don't they? A different way to maybe view reality and our place in it.
Yeah. Maybe consider those questions it raises. What about your own sphere of influence? How powerful are your intentions in shaping your day-to-day experience? What really resonated with you from all this?
Reflecting on that connection between internal states, thoughts, intentions, and external reality could be quite revealing.
And remember that final thought from the text. The suggestion that through your focused intention, you really do have the power to choose, maybe even create, the reality you desire. It is still possible.
Definitely something to mull over.
Please do comment, share this with others who might find it interesting, and subscribe if you haven't already. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the Great Awakening to Intentional Consciousness, the QuantSciousness Code, manifesting intentions across the vibrational matrix.
We look forward to exploring more with you then.